Hello everyone and welcome back to Sparkling Autos. So this video we're going to do a follow up from the previous video, which was applying the Garage Therapy Ceramic Sealant to the Audi i6. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link above. Also on that subject, if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and press the bell for notifications. That way you'll see all the future videos, if indeed you like this one. And again, if you like this one, don't forget to press the thumbs up. It's free, it's a click of a button, and it makes a massive difference to the channels going forward. It has genuinely been 2 weeks since that was applied, and as you can see here, the car's picked up quite a bit of road grime in that time. The car's used every day, does a lot of mileage, and it doesn't take long for the dirt to build back up. So first thing we need to do is give it a quick maintenance wash and take it from there. We're not going to spend too long here on the maintenance wash side of things. I just really want to highlight how much easier it is to carry out a maintenance wash on a car that has protection on it. If you'll remember from the previous video, there was no protection here whatsoever. And the main advantage, or one of the main advantages of having a good wax or sealant on a car, is how much time and effort it saves you when it comes to cleaning it. Most of the dirt will come off with a rinse, and then the products themselves are a lot easier to actually rinse away when you're finished. And I do apologise here that you may need sunglasses for this part. Unfortunately, the sun kept coming in and out on the day I was cleaning this, and I'm not a professional cameraman who comes back and forward to the camera checking exposure levels every 5 minutes. It's not ideal, but I'm not going to go back and re-record a bit of snow foam footage just for the sake of this video. As for the foam itself, you can use whatever you choose. You can go with Garage Therapy 1 car shampoo. I would just dilute 50ml in 500ml of water, and it gives it decent enough covering, and as I say, the pre-rinse stage, once the car is coated, is going to remove most of the dirt anyway. So I've just stopped spraying here for a second as my assistant is bringing out my buckets of warm water. Handy to have about the place. And while I'm doing that, as you can see here, even just rinsing the wheels with a bit of foam on it, that there's absolutely no need to be spraying these with fallout removers or acidic wheel cleaners at this stage. A pre-rinse is more than enough, and then we're going to tackle them in a second with the Garage Therapy 1 wheel shampoo. You'll see here the difference, with the water behaviour now that it's had the 2 coats of the ceramic sealant. It makes such a difference when it comes to rinsing products, and the water and the products just fall off the car. And now you can see here the panel's practically spotless. So the wheel's in, and as this is just a quick maintenance wash, all we're doing is giving the wheel faces a quick once over with a soft Vicam brush, and I'm going to go into the wheel nut areas and the lip around the rim with a soft brush, and finally the tyres with a woolly wormit microfiber noodle mitt. I don't know who comes up with these names. You may notice I'm not doing the wheel barrels in this particular wash. The wheels were given a deep clean 2 weeks ago, and this is just a very quick once over maintenance wash, and we're only doing the wheel faces. So rinse the brushes, rinse the wheels off, and repeat on the other 4. The other 4? How many wheels does this car have? Repeat on the other 3. Now you'll see when they rinse off here the water behaviour on the tyres. These tyres were given a deep clean 2 weeks ago, and 2 coats of Garage Therapy tyre seam, and you see now just the water behaviour. If you remember, these tyres needed 4 hits with a strong APC, so that's a massive improvement. So contact wash them, we went with our 2 buckets and as many mitts as you want or like to use. Just remember when you're doing this in direct sunlight, as I am here, to rinse the car frequently and just keep the bodywork as cool as you can. Just misting it over with water is sufficient enough. So I'll stop talking for a minute and let you enjoy the music, which as always is by Stu Preston. And again, I would encourage you to go and subscribe to his YouTube channel, just to help support him the way he supports me. So you'll see here, as I said earlier, don't wait until you've finished washing the whole car. Just rinse it off panel at a time, or area, section at a time, whatever you want to call it, just as you get it done. This way you'll prevent the products from draining into your car, and it'll keep the panels nice and cool as well in the sunlight. And then finally, when you've finished with your wash and rinse stages, just ground dry the car off. Personally, I go with the drying towel. This one I'm using the Korean microfiber dual twisted loop one. This is the first time I've used this towel, although I have 2 or 3 of the same type, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. They're soft, they absorb water, and as you'll see here, leave absolutely no streaks whatsoever. Just, yeah, they do the job. There you are, as you can see, absolutely no streaks, no risk of water spotting. All the water's been absorbed by the towel and no trails or anything left behind. Just what you want. So now we move on to the actual segment application. So the first thing you see there is to prime the pad. So similar process to what you do with the ceramic sealant. I don't know why my voice went high there, but we'll get on with this anyway. And I think I said pad there when I actually meant cloth, but you can use either, I suppose. But enough jibber jabber, just get on with it. So 2 to 3 sprays in on your chosen application method, and then another couple of sprays onto the panel. Spread it very, very lightly. I think the trick here that I find certainly with using Sigma is when you're actually applying it, not to put any pressure. Just spread it over lightly, give it 30 to 60 seconds to bond, and then buff it off. I have heard stories where, and I've had it myself, where it can be difficult to buff Sigma off, but I think that comes from either the panel being too hot or just applying too much pressure when actually spreading it. So just very, very lightly, barely touching the panel, let cloth do the work and let the product do the work. But if you do find you run into problems with not so much streaking, but just when you find it difficult to actually remove the product, or there's just some sort of trail or trace of it left behind, just dampen a fresh microfiber cloth with water and rub over it, and then buff it off again. That's all you need to do. Generally speaking, that'll fix the problem. However, prevention is always better than cure, and my advice in that regard would be, as I say, to make sure the panel's cool, you're working in the shade, and don't apply any pressure when you're spreading the product. And just to give you a prime example, as you see when I apply the product onto the section of the roof, there's what appears to be some sort of steam or vapour coming off. Now I couldn't see this at the time, but the camera has picked it up afterwards. And even when actually spreading the product, there was no difference. It just spread normally, absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever. And then after giving it the normal 30 seconds to bond, when I went over to buff it, I just found it a little bit more difficult. Not enough that you can even notice the difference, but I just had to go over each part, maybe 2 or 3 times, just to remove the dried in product. And you can see by the half confused look on my face most of the time here that something definitely wasn't right. Again though, this isn't a huge issue, it's just something that required a little bit more buffing than the previous panels had. So all I need to do is take preventative measures to make sure it doesn't happen again. And obviously the best way to prevent this is to park the car in the shade if possible, or if you're fortunate enough, put it in the garage. So onto the bonnet then, you can, if you wish, split the bonnet into 2 sections. The problem I have with that is, when you do the second half, you're going to have a bit of overspray onto the first, and you're going to have to buff it off again anyway. So I tend to do the bonnet in one go. The only thing you need to be careful with doing this is time management. Ensure you get the product sprayed evenly before any of it starts to dry, and again with the buffing off, don't leave it too long on the other half of the bonnet, get it all off in one go. And when it comes to buffing off Sigma, despite the obvious visible difference, the main thing you'll notice is the feel, the slickness of the paintwork. It's certainly one of the best I've ever used, and I struggle to think of any spray and buff off product that feels anywhere near as good as this. Now that's the first coat on, and whilst it doesn't specify on the bottle, I prefer to leave it for an hour in between coats, just the same as the ceramic sealant product. And in the meantime, I'll go around and clean the glass with the new Garage Therapy 1 glass cleaner, and apply another coat of the tar serum. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about either of these products at this stage, because I've already mentioned I have a video coming up on the long-term use of the Garage Therapy tar serum. And in terms of the glass cleaner, this is actually the first time I've used the product, but whilst initial impressions are very, very impressive, I'm not one of these people who uses a product once and then gives a review on it. I don't think that's fair to the company, I don't think that's fair to the buyers. I think it's better to get a long-term view of the product, use it a few times on a few different vehicles in different conditions, and then you'll make an assessment from there, and then you get a more accurate, rounded opinion of how the product actually is. That being said, this glass cleaner is amazing, and I'll definitely be talking a lot more about it in the not too distant future. For now though, we're focusing on Sigma, and you might wonder, well, why would you apply Sigma if you applied ceramic sealant? Or why would you apply the ceramic sealant if you're going to apply Sigma anyway? Well, the two aren't conflicting products, they actually work in synergy with each other. If you consider the ceramic sealant as like a base layer, and then the Sigma more as a top up to that, and you apply it every 6 to 8 weeks. And for all the maintenance washes in between, you could use the Garage Therapy 2 Quick Detailer. But anybody who's tried Sigma yet will know why you want to use Sigma, and if anybody hasn't tried it yet, you really should. And for a top up coat of the tire serum, I'm using the Mammoth Squirtastic applicator, which I got from County Detailing Supplies. It's only a couple of pounds, £2 or £3, I can't remember exactly. But perfect applicator for putting this on the tire. It spreads it evenly, as you can see here. It gets into all the wee lines and crevices and whatever on the tire surface. And the big square edges are perfect for getting into that little, the lip part between the tire and the rim. I've actually been using this one for about 2 months now, and no signs of it degrading whatsoever. And don't forget when you're done to roll the car back or forward just enough that you can get at the section of the tire which is on the ground, for obvious reasons. Then finish off the 4 tires, go grab yourself a burger and a beer, and wait to apply the second coat. So after you've given the first coat an hour's curing time, which as I say may not be absolutely essential, it's just something I like to do, you can go ahead and apply the second coat. Now there's absolutely no difference here in application method. You apply it exactly the same way you do with the first one, and just go one panel at a time. And that's really all there is to it. Spray it on, spread it, wait 30 seconds, as you see me counting down, and then buff it off. Don't forget, after you've buffed it off, to rub the back of your hand over the bodywork. If you've used Sigma before, you'll know exactly what I mean. So the last step for me was just to buff off the excess of the tire serum. Again, this isn't something you have to do, it's just to get the desired finish. I just like to take the excess off. It's not a product that flings like some of the tire gels do. It's just purely preferential for the finished look. And also wipe any excess off the wheels, and that is us finished. And that brings us to the end of this video, which I really do hope you've enjoyed watching, as this is one of those products it's always a joy to use and the results are absolutely fantastic, and I hope you agree. Please feel free to leave any comments below and we'll reply to them as always. And in the meantime, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching and take care.